Yona stood up and had a glass in her hands. She said a short toast that it was great with us, and that the philosophy group was the best she ever had. And since she wasn't going to teach the next year, she would like to use this day to end our relationship as student and teacher, and begin a new one as a friend. And so, from this day on, we would always call her by her name, Ione. We all raised our glasses and slowly started to snack on the many things on the table in front of us. It was Saturday, the 2nd day of July. It was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We were about 15 people. We came to the goodbye party our philosophy teacher invited us to. I was completely unprepared for the curse of the evening, and I felt it. I almost panicked at times. I just didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do, and whether to do something, if anything. Someone said something and I didn't know if I should comment on it. I didn't know with what goal I should comment. Should I be happy? Should I be serious? Or kind? Thinking? And no one was going to help me. From the time Ione told us we were going to meet at her place, I couldn't think of anything else. I was so omnipresent that I couldn't get my mind to think about anything else. There existed nothing except this now. I hardly had time to think about anything. The dreams imagining what I would say, I just couldn't really get into it anymore. I know I never wanted to admit it to myself, but I somehow always lived in that dreamland, in that possibility that something might really happen, and it wasn't. And I was going to get the answer today. The best I could come up with was the one who would turn up for the party, and that it was just going to be me and Ione there. Then Ione would get drunk and tell me she loves me. She would cry and beg me not to go away. What a stupid idea! And I would cover her with a blanket and put her to sleep. I kept thinking about this. How sick must have I been to think this. How childish, how naive and stupid that was that. Still, in my mind there was a chance. I kept thinking about what to do, how to trick fate. I thought maybe I'd leave one of my belongings in her apartment, and when we all leave, I will remember, and then I'll have to return to Ione and we'd be alone. It sounded so stupid that I almost laughed at that prospect, but what should I do? What else? Because I was going to tell her. I knew it, and it was the only thing I was not going to let happen, that I would not tell her. I had to tell her. I had to tell her I love her, because I just had to. It was not because I wanted, but the uncertainty was too much for me. I suffered from my affection more than I could ever bear, and the days I counted down to the time we'd meet at Ione's place were so final. If there would be no appropriate situation, I would probably tell Ione I love her in front of everyone else. And now, that horrible realizing that I in fact had not been able to think of anything was crushing me. I was a weak man, a broken person. It would have been very comfortable to blame this on the fact that I had to go through the consequences of the redux. But this was me. This was the real, true me. I thought that with my, 29 years old, I would be a decisive person. I thought that I had clarity in my mind, that I could act. All the things I regretted, all the things I haven't done anything to make it better. I was only good for dreaming. It was this where all my uncertainty came from. I wasn't able to act in any way because I felt that was the end. And I could feel it close. My only safe point would be telling Ione. I knew it was going to happen. One way, the other way, or a different way. Still, when I realized just where I was, that this was actually the time, that this was really the place where it all would have to end, then a sudden weakness seized me and I was completely disarmed, just sitting and holding onto the table. Because someone told Ione, she knew I was going to have my birthday tomorrow. The traditional double party with Yoshiko wasn't going to happen, because she was somewhere with her parents. All this time, and even during the special toast Ione made for me, I realized it more and more. It was my 17th birthday. Ione, she was 34. She had to realize it. But what was more sad for me, her face showed no signs of anything, apart from the crushing truth is revealed. She was congratulating one of her students. But to be a good person, I brought a movie I had from Mori. It was quite the heat and pretty new at that, so everyone wanted to see it. I asked them all beforehand so I could bring the one from Mori's collection that no one saw. It was to be the main part of the evening, I guess, beginning at around 8, I suppose. Before that, however, we, or better the others, had a good time. We played cards, played board games and talked about many things. While playing cards I remembered the sky trip, but I was so passive I didn't even get a chance to play with her again. Was I going to let this pass me by? So close to the end. Of course not. But I was so resigned, such strong were all the signs, that I didn't feel I could do anything now. There was no point in trying to make a final run. So to say, to be with Ione, to have the last good conversation before my confession will ruin it all. It was not only useless, but I felt it would have been insulting for Ione. And so there was nothing I felt from this evening, that was just between me and Ione. Why? I felt it the whole time before, so why wasn't there anything now? She even talked to me, but was it really so clear? Only today? Or was it clear? Finally. But I was determined. I would critically need just that one more confirmation, that one more sign, or something I could be interpreting as a sign, like those before. The time, it was as if it were accelerated. 6 o'clock already. 7. Half past. 8. Half past 8. It was really nice, I guess for the others, and we were making everything ready for the big movie night. Ione even brought us something warm she cooked up with 2 of the girls. I ate it, but I really wasn't into that kind of food. It would have been romantic for the food that Ione cooked to be tasty for me, but I was sorry. But I ate it all. The others were slowly gathering around the TV. I was just going to take the empty plate and bring it into the kitchen. It would have been the only moment. I would see Ione in the kitchen, and with no one around us, I would tell her. But it wasn't like this. There was no one in the kitchen. When I came back to the living room, everyone had their places already and the light was dimmed. There was almost no space in front of the TV now, but one of the girls, Kanomi, made some space for me so I could sit beside her. Ione. I couldn't even look at her, because she was sitting behind me. I tried to look for a reflection in one of the glass doors of the bookcases, but there was just no way. I just saw her when I came in to sit down, and the only reflection I saw was that of the film in her glasses. This was a situation I could not use in any way. Will I think of something? Will I be able to think about something during the movie? But the time was just slipping between my fingers, and I wasn't really able to think. That Kanami is also nice. I watched the movie mindlessly, as a form of relaxation. I kept hoping that during the movie I will think of something. Even closed my eyes for a bit, but nothing. Still the movie was not over. So there was hope. There just had to be something I could do. There had to be something. I was walking outside, hardly aware of my surroundings. While I did pay attention to hide everything I felt, I was realizing the end. Was it my fault? For not being able to do anything? Again? Contrary to that determination I had. I realized this was it. This evening I really found out about the true me. This was me. I would regret everything. Forever. I was walking with some of my friends. I was happy to be on a fresh air, and the night summer air was a welcome source of cool oxygen. I was kind of automatically talking to the others. All the thoughts were pulsating in my head. It almost hurt. With every second, every beat of my heart that pumped blood into my brain, the reality set in with growing intensity. Yone was gone forever. We already saw the bus stop. It was night and the last regular bus would arrive soon. It was something before 11 when the movie ended. I felt helpless, completely. It was as if I could hear the time. While everyone was watching the final scenes of the movie, I was awaiting the truth with a horror not comparable to any other. I felt I gave up. It wasn't admitting it, I did my best. It wasn't realizing there could be done nothing more. And it was not realizing anything impossible. It was simply the feeling that my body, my mind, could not go on any longer. I was defeated that second. It all ended, even if I was still there, and in theory there was a chance. For the first time in my life, I gave up from the whole of my heart. Light. One of the girls switched on the light. The final credits were rolling and nothing more could be done. It was as if I woke up. I had remembered what I wanted to do. Perhaps when we say goodbye. Could I perhaps give her a sign? The light was horrible. I almost repeated to myself what to do. Give her a sign. A sign! We helped Ione carry much of the things into the kitchen, although she told us to let it be. Some of us started to look for their shoes already because we had to make the last regular buses. The first people were already leaving. Ione tried to say goodbye to everyone in person, but it wasn't always possible. And what did I hope for? The best that could happen was a handshake and one or two words. Still, I was so full of the moment, I was barely able to concentrate on anything. Ione said goodbye to him, to the other one. And soon, it will be my turn. I waited. I took my time. I didn't want to rush it. In a way, although I had no idea what to do when Ione will say the final goodbye to me, I knew I wanted to be the last one she says goodbye to. And why not? I think it was the right thing. I really was the one she talked to the most. The best of luck, she told the person before me. And then me. I was standing there, alone, in front of Ione. I didn't know what to say. There she was. The woman I loved, and I was unable to say anything. Could she see this? In my eyes. This was my last opportunity. This was my last and final chance. A chance to do something. Ione, it was so clear. She looked at me and smiled. That face. It almost brought tears to my eyes. She was talking to me and I was barely standing on my feet. All her words just passed me by. Her wishing me luck and all the best. I knew all those words, but they gave me no meaning to me. I just heard her voice, her aura. I wanted to feel for that one last time. I simply couldn't do anything. I answered her somehow, my head dizzy. I was barely able to hear. I smiled back and shook her hand. The doors closed and I knew it. I realized it by the way Ione closed the door. She closed it normally, not slower, not with any kinds of regrets. This was the proof. And I was there, with the reality of not being able to do anything again. But she gave me no sign at all. I would take anything. I just needed one small sign from her. But there was none. So how could I do something myself then? Because I had to have a sign so I could act. She would have to give me a hint that she wants it too. I mean, then it's true that she was the indecisive one. If I would sense something from her, I would maybe hold her hand that 1 second longer than the usual handshake. I would. Was I really so stupid? Was it really possible that all my thoughts, all that I felt come from Ione, all that happened, wasn't true? Was it just my imagination? But how could that be possible? I really felt that Ione was happy in my company. And I would probably go even further, but just as today, I had no sign from Ione, that I can say more, that I can be even more personal. I was vigorously chasing away the thoughts that came to my mind. Of course she liked me, but just as a student. I know I liked to dream, to imagine situations, but this one scenario of me and Ione Was this the most unrealistic dream of mine? I always considered my dreams to be dreams. As every boy, I dreamed of being a hero, of impressing girls, but those were dreams I knew were just dreams. This one plan, this scam, this wish of forcing Yone into something she was not, wasn't that also just a dream? I always kept telling myself I loved Yone, but then I should also accept what she wants, and I wanted her to be happy. Then I should stop trying to have an affair with my teacher, because that was not what I wanted. I wanted to be with her, ask her love, ask her support, and ask her a friend. And this was utterly unrealistic. Even if I could be a friend, could I be a love for her? If I couldn't get myself to love young girls who were still children, how could she? And the consequences. Did I expect she would stand all the pressure from all sides when people would find out? Of course, in my endless stupidity, I seemed to assume Yone wouldn't mind what others think, because she would have me, a boy of an age that could make him her son. Huh? Okay. All the problems, she would solve them because she would have me. Right? All the people judging her, everyone point at her. No doubt she would lose her teaching job. And her friends. Yone's friends were also her age, and did I think I would fit into their world? Yone, maybe she even wanted a baby now. But from me? How sick would be that? And her parents. And my parents. This was so complicated. I know that it was sincerely loved each other. If we sincerely loved each other, even then this would only be good for the first 6 months or so. I couldn't imagine anything beyond that. It would hurt me. It would decimate her, and we would be suffering more than we would be happy. And even though I was such a shamelessly selfish person to not give up, and all this time pursue Yone, effectively wanting her to give her life up because of me. Even though I believed my love was a good reason to want all this from her, I just saw no way. And so, with Yone's door closed, I realized I just couldn't do it. But why? I had all those reasons, but in reality, I just had to say 4 words. I just had to whisper them to her. Yone, I love you. We were already at the bus stop. I had no idea when the bus will arrive, but I guess any minute. The fact that I saw the end, that Yone didn't say anything more to me, and that I didn't do anything against it, did that mean that it wasn't that important to me? In theory, I could still do something. Even now. Maybe I would meet her sometime in the summer in the city, and I could tell her there. Or I could write her a letter and put it in her mailbox, now that I knew where she lived. But I knew it wasn't over. But I really set my mind to it, that it would all end today. A letter. What could she answer to a letter? Oh, I love you too, let's meet. Pathetic. And even if I went for a less direct approach, how big was the chance that I would meet her in the summer? And when I meet her, there will be more time that will have passed between us, so it won't be that intensive anymore. 7 minutes until the bus arrives. I heard the others still talking about the movie. I was completely helpless, I didn't know what to do. Only the girl, Kanomi, was talking to me. I guess we went together to the stop, but I hardly knew what I was talking to her about. Kanomi. I remember her sitting next to me when we watched the movie, and she also played the board game with me. Is Kanomi? Mori has his sources. That's what could be heard from the group of people talking about the movie. It was true, Mori always got the latest releases. Who knows where he gets them from? It hit me that second. Mori's movie. Huh? What? A sudden loss of orientation struck me. What? I felt cold all over my body. Why? I looked at Kanomi, who was talking to me. I could barely talk. Why? I left it there. Huh? I left it at Yone's place.